down about elbow length. So start out with just straight up and down, and then turn it up, and that way scoops, and then just kind of toss out a little bit of water. There's little fill lines. If you don't got to be exact, just get pretty close to it. Little fill lines on this one too. If you're a little over, if you want to, you can just kind of knock a little more out. The red one, this one goes into this side here, and it's 5 drops. With these, you want to make sure it's straight up and down. You don't want to be dropping drops in from the side because it's not an even drop. So straight up and down, 5. And then the chlorine, you got the number 1 and the number 2. Okay. Number 1 first, 5 drops on this side.
What was the red one?
pH.
pH, okay.
Yeah.
It says that on the bottom?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
They don't always say pH on it, but the 0004.
Is the
What's
one.
the expiration date on those bottles, by the way?
This one's 7/23, so that one's good till the end of the season. This one's 7/23 as well. 6/23. 3/22. That one's expired. This one, 6/22. So 5 drops of that one, 5 drops of the number 2 on this side as well. And then get your deal, rinse it off too.
And the order is important for that chlorine.
Yep. Yeah, 'cause this one kind of acts as like to start it, buffers it, and this is what changes the color, if there is any chlorine. And if you have a white background, it sure makes it a lot easier to read these. You can see this one's clear, so there's no chlorine in it whatsoever. And this one, pH is probably an 8.2. It's past the 8. See how purple it is? So it's not even on the scale. So we're high, like on the pH. So then we get the acid to lower it.
And what do we want the pH to be at?
7.2 to 76.
Yeah.
7.2,
And there's,
7.6.
it's in there.
It tells you here too. So all the directions I'm going over is going to be here as well. And they're all color coordinated. So well, it's supposed to be red, but it's faded. It's pink, red, yellow, green, blue, and white. They make it pretty easy. Since y'all are testing it yourselves. Since we know this is already high, these two here, so you have an acid demand reagent and a base demand reagent. So since this is high, we know that we have to use an acid to bring it down. So you can take this acid demand here and do just 1 drop at a time until the pH comes down within range. See, that's 7.6, so we can stop there if we want. Maybe 7.4 actually. Start to get a little lighter. So it only took just 1 drop to lower this to the right range. There's a chart. It usually comes with a book. You can probably find it like online or something, and it goes with like one drop per however many thousands of gallons this pool is. It will tell you how much acid to put in to lower the pH. And the same with this. If say if this was really low and it took 2 drops of this to raise the pH back up. Also in the same chart, there's going to be tells you how much soda ash to put in to raise the pH. If you just buy like a brand new tailored test kit instead of buying the reagents for it, it'll come with that book.
Okay.
And it'll tell you exactly what to what to do.
I think we have
Unless
that
it's
book laying
unless it's
around
in
here.
the
It could be in there,
unless
right?
it's in there, yeah.
I'll look.
Alright. Did you guys track on that? Because I kind of...
Yeah, I
mean-
followed it.
You did it before.
Followed it.
Mhm.
To me, it's, okay, you put the red drop in, it was too, pH was too high, so he needs to add
Acid.
acid, which
Yeah.
is not, what is that, baking
Come on,
soda or
Mimo,
soda
that's middle
ash?
school
No, it's
chemistry.
the muriatic acid,
The
the
muriatic
bottles.
acid.
The bottles that are over there, so it's a different. So
Those like bigger bottles or
yeah,
the ones,
the white ones.
the white ones?
Yeah.
What were those bottles that looked like
The
hadn't been
pink.
opened? Yeah.
So those are Skeltec that helps with calcium building up on the plaster.
Okay.
So I know in Edmond usually has pretty hard water,
Yeah.
so that Skeltec would help with that throughout the season.
pH too low, we add what?
Soda ash.
Okay. And then what's the baking soda for then?
Baking soda is for the alkalinity. We haven't got to that yet. So for the testing the alkalinity, you'll use the same big tube here. There's a middle line right there in the middle.
Okay.
You see that?
Mhm.
The little line. So that's where we're gonna fill the alkalinity test tube. Same thing, as low as you can kind of get. Easy way to get to that point is to pour it over until this reaches the top of that.
Yeah.
And then there's half of it. And then that's going to be we're testing the green one here. And these are all kind of labeled. That's number 7, number 8, and number 9. So we'll start with number 7 first. I do believe it's 2 drops.
You
with
did this
one.
last year? Or when you did soda? When you were
We did pH test.
that was it?
Yeah.
So with this, you shouldn't have to test as often as you do like the pH.
Okay.
Because last year or previous years, they test throughout the day, right?
Yeah,
With-
like
with
4
the
times
pH.
a day, I think.
And so like with the alkalinity, you can just test either like once a week or maybe twice a week, just to kind
That's
of
why they
get
didn't
an
have, like,
idea
ours.
of that.
Mhm.
But with that, the number 7 is 2 drops.
And that's why the bottle is smaller, because they don't need as much.
Yeah, and you're not testing as much with it.
So are we testing the pH for it?
Yes.
And you need to write it down.
And 5 drops of the green one,
How much of the first one again?
2,
2.
2 of number
5.
7, 5 of number 8, and then you'll swirl it, mix it up, and with this one, you'll add 1 drop at a time and swirl until this changes colors. See how it's starting to change, but it doesn't completely change. So we just keep going
Until when?
until it changes to that peak. So it's 4. So that means your alkalinity is at a 40. So you take the 4 times it by 10, and that gives you your alkalinity number.
Okay.
And so that's actually kind of low. The range for the alkalinity, I'm pretty sure through the health department, is 80 to 120.
Trying to figure out how you spell alkaline. There it is. A, C, A,
It's with a K.
L-K-L-I-N-I-T-Y.
Too high. You add.
If the alkalinity is too high, you're going to add acid, muriatic acid as well.
This one you add. Okay.
If the alkalinity is too low, you're going to add baking soda for the alkalinity increase. Let's see. And then the next one is the calcium hardness. I don't think they really care about the calcium hardness, but it
The health
tests-
department?
Yeah,
Okay.
it tests the same way the green one does. kind of like with the alkalinity, or not alkalinity, the calcium. The only way the calcium changes is if you add something to it, or if it's pulling calcium out of the plaster. So when you test this, like I said, it's really not all that important. But this first one, the number 10, it's 20 drops. So, and it's the same like halfway up there. And then 11, 5 drops. It's written on here under the blue section. Step 1 here, the 25, the 20 drops, 5 drops. And then the last one, the 12, is going to be the same. You will mix this up, and then you'll start adding drops until it changes colors. And I believe this one changes to blue. And it's probably going to be around 20 or 30 drops to get it to change, most likely. And then you take that number times it by 10, your calcium level is 220, which actually isn't bad. It's,
What color were we waiting for to change just to get it clear?
the blue, yeah.
Just that light
That
blue.
pale blue.
That light blue.
Yeah.
And that color varies too, depending on how much chlorine's in the pool, other factors too, can kind of. But we're just waiting for it to change from that, that pink color to blue.
Alright. And then if it's too
If it's, there's really nothing you can do, I guess.
except
Because I mean they do have a chemical in there, or like out there, it kind of works. It takes the calcium out, or you can get a filter for your hose to filter out the calcium as you're adding it to it.
which right now you said it's not bad.
It's not bad. But if it's too low, they do have a calcium hardness increaser. But being in Edmond,
Never an issue.
it's never an issue. People are usually coming down with it.
So how often should we test for it then?
Today.
That's it.
Probably would never test for it again. Can if you want, if you're just curious, but it's not really an issue.
Alright.
Last one is the cyanuric test. You wouldn't really test this a whole lot either, but the cyanuric acid is different than muriatic acid, and the cyanuric acid is a byproduct of chlorine tablets. And you can actually add it to the water too, because what its purpose is to protect the chlorine from the sunlight, because there's none in there now because it's a freshly filled pool. But if you would chalk it in the middle of the day, probably later on that evening, the chlorine would be burnt out or used up, depending on how dirty the pool was. And so this, as the season goes on, this number is going to generally rise just because of the amount of tablets you're going through. The only way to lower this is to drain old water and add fresh water. It does not go away through evaporation or anything, and so that's why you actually have to physically remove the water, either through the waste or backwashing. But you don't have any of the, or at least enough of the white to do the test, but I'll kind of show you anyway. So water, we're going to fill to the number 7 line.
Oh, so we use this bottle.
Yeah. And then the white lid, you'll fill it the rest of the way to the 14. You'll put the cap on, shake it up, wait 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds, there's the black dot down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Black dot.
Yeah, this tube.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, yeah.
You'll start adding this stuff here, just a little squirt at a time. And then on the side of this, there's little holes. And you'll want to stay either between 30 and 50. That's the ideal range. Like I said, as the summer goes on, your number will probably get bigger and bigger and bigger.
So, color-wise, or
No, it'll just look cloudy.
okay.
It's kind of foggy. And you'll squirt it in there until you can't see the black dot,
Oh, okay.
or until you're overflowing.
That
And
makes
so,
sense.
like, once you can't see the black dot anymore, you just hold it up straight and see where it's at on the little chart on
Okay.
the side.
Got it.
Again, this cyanic acid test is today, and that's it for the season.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be pretty important halfway through the season to see where it's at, just to, to kind of know if you need to empty any of the water out.
Okay.
And that's it with all the tests.
How many chlorine tabs do you have?
I don't have any. Nothing. I'll go look.
Damn, you might get sunburned up here.
I am. It's happening. Better than being completely burnt.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yay.
Yay.